Alright, YouTube, we're done with Tom here in Pomeroy. Off to our next destination in Ephrata, Washington. That will conclude our Eastern Washington road trip for my series On the Road. And Donna, she's got about 9 tanks. She's got a beautiful pond. Her and her husband just finished recently. It is looking awesome. I can't wait to see that. The weather's going to be beautiful, so we should be able to see everything. She's got Africans. She does the tetras as well, the rasboras. She's got some mouth brooders. What else? I know. Oh, she really enjoys the live bears, and so that's what I can't wait, because that's all she talks about. So anyway, it's about 2 hours away, so we will see you guys in about 2 hours. Unless we see something cool along the way, we'll take a look at it. See you then.
In most offensive numbers among National League shortstops. As a 2-out walk, and here's Tavares. It was tagged out on a
hard water here.
I bet. Hi everybody. Hey YouTube. We're here with Donna. And say hi, Donna.
Hi.
So what are we looking at here?
This is my 125 gallon.
Hi. How you doing?
It started out to be a West African, but it's now become kind of just a general community tank. It still has predominantly West African fish in it, but a little bit of everything now. It's kind of become a catch-all. So these are the tetras with the red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are an endangered species, and they are called Arnychtheus spilopterus, African red-eyed tetras. And out of 8 that I originally had, 7 survived, of which all 7 were males.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
No, so I'm now down to 6, and I have one that's wasting, and it's because they're so aggressive with one another. They, having no female in there, they will chase each other, and I have one that's looking like he's going to be going.
I see the smallest one there.
Yeah, the smallest one. Just thinning down, and it takes time, but he'll eventually go. And I lost one other one that way too. But it's taken, I've had them a year and a half. So it's not, I don't believe it's an illness. I truly believe it's stress.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So I just kind of leave them there, and you know, what happens, happens. And then my other group in here that I've shared a lot of is my Pseudocriblabris multicolor Victoriae. Yes. And he doesn't have his best color on today, but right here's the dominant male with the blue lips, red fins. And then these little ones that are hiding, you'll see them tucked into the plants. Those are the females. And they get, you know, they're mouth brooders, so they get big mouthful. We just had the male and a female spawning. That's the spawning nest up in the corner there, that front little indentation.
Oh, this little area right over here?
Under in the sand there. They spawn right in that corner. That's his spot. And he likes to spawn there. And then I had just one pair of the cribs in here, the Pelvicochromis pulchers, and they have literally started to take over the tank. So pretty soon I'm going to have to pull. There's a big dominant male in the back.
See, two
Yeah,
or
a couple
three
little
here.
ones. Back here's a pair. They're working in this. There's a cave back here.
Ah, I see it
coconut
down there.
cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're spawning back in there. Here, let's see. One went behind. I don't know where he went. But anyway, I've now got quite a number of those, and those are all survivors. I've never pulled the cribs.
Oh.
They'll have a larger spawn of about 30 little babies, and you'll see them circling the driftwoods, the woods in here, because they get a lot of, I think, infusoria off of those.
Yeah.
And they'll survive quite a while in the tank. I've had them survive, like 45 days, and then they start dropping off because they become food.
Right.
Then they get where the parents are protecting them. The parents go back to spawning mode, and the babies start getting eaten. But while the parents are protecting them, nobody can come near them. They are vicious, those little guys.
Got a nice little pleco here. Brussels nose.
And when I have one rose-lined shark, he's gotten pretty big there.
He's a good-looking shark. Yes.
Yeah, he's gotten pretty big. And then some Australian, the rainbow fish. And there's 4 of those, and those are all males also. So this is kind of my mostly male tank.
Your male tank, except for your cribs.
Right.
And
And,
the other
there's
ones.
my female limbochromis.
Oh, she came out,
Bless her
yes.
heart. Yeah, she's pretty shy. I lost the male in he got into a decoration. And
That's
then most
awesome.
of my bristlenose plecos came from Betty.
Yes.
Yeah, I got quite a few of mine from her. And woods and plants are from Denny's. I think I got the really big anubias from the bulbitis. Where did I get that big one? I think I got that one over at Barbie's, the Pleco Gal in Spokane, the big bulbitis there.
I heard about her, yeah.
And then a lot of the little anubias I ordered in through the mail, and they've just been growing. They're pretty happy in this tank. I do get some algae on them because they sit so long. It takes them a long time to grow.
Right.
They've been in here a long time, but I've had a lot of blooms on them and a lot of flowers.
What's the big one in the back?
That's the bulbitis.
Ah.
Yeah, and that's real slow growing, but I do have new growth coming up on it.
Yes.
But it's just slow. Doesn't seem to be the happiest. This tank doesn't really get any supplements. Every once in a while I throw some trace in it or a little bit of Excel, but I don't dose it regularly.
And nice. I noticed the LED. I love the LEDs. Just like it seems like everybody's going to them.
Yeah, that's a current
yeah.
LED. That's a current plus.
Okay.
And so it's got all the different functions on it. I usually just run either an orange light or the white light on it.
So I'm noticing you got the whites and the orange on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And so when you say it's got the different, so it's got the reds, the blue lights, all the different colors.
It's got all kinds of things. I'm not going to put the
Oh, and it's got the
flashing
remote.
lights on because it'll scare them.
And why do they even have that for the flashing?
You know, I'm not sure.
It's.
Let's see.
I mean,
There's blue. That's more blue
Oh.
oriented.
that's a big difference. And then you get some
And
purples.
then that is purple. Yeah. And then there's the white. That's more. That would be more for your planted tanks. But I don't know. I like the orange in my tank. That's yellow. And that's blue, a duller blue, more blue. And then they have the moonlight. Oop! Everybody got scared. It's okay.
It's dinner time, or not dinner,
It's okay.
nighttime.
I don't ever moonlight it. That's
Neither
why
do
they're
I.
Terrified. There's like 3 or 4 different moonlights. That's like a cloudy moonlight. And there's a sunrise. That's sunrise. And then there's a couple more, and then there's the lightning and thunder things. We'll go back to normal.
Oh, so that's why the lights flickers to give it that lightning thunder effect. Gotcha. That is cool. I hope you guys on YouTube saw how those all changed colors. That's really awesome.
And then this one runs with the big monster down there. We
And
have the big
what is
E-hive.
that one?
That's an E-hive.
The big E one?
Yeah, the 2260.
Ah, and you really like that?
We do.
Yeah.
I don't do any maintenance on that for about 6 to 8 weeks. You know, I leave that puppy, and then we've got a smaller one over here, a 2028. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then the HOB, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm an over filtration freak.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
So-
there's really nothing wrong with that. It's, I mean, what's the harm?
Yeah.
There is no harm, and it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's.
And I have the flow from the big one. It comes out here, so it goes down my 75-gallon planted, and It's just kind of getting off the ground here. Everything was transferred over from the 33 gallon to this. Not all of them, but a lot of the plants. And really none of these in here are super high-tech plants. But I want to see them get off the ground before I put anything else. And I want to have my fertilizers going well and my lights going well and not a bunch of algae growing. I have I don't know why, I have that, what is that algae called? It's the green. It's
Kind of like that hair algae?
Well,
fuzzy?
it's not the hair algae.
Is it?
It's like the mossball algae, claudophobia or something, clauda something.
I'll take your word on that one.
Yeah, it's called clauda something. And for some reason, I grow that like crazy in my tank. I mean,
really?
It just shows up in places. It's easy to pull out, but it does proliferate to some degree. So.
You got some cool little snails in here too.
Yeah, I got snails in all my tanks.
They wouldn't
They
survive.
came in
in
with
mine.
the plants, and I just leave them. I don't worry about them. So,
I think they're
this
cool
one,
looking.
This one was actually getting too much light, is why I have some dark green in the front on the plants, some green spot algae. I had to change the lighting. I had added that third light, thinking I didn't have enough, and I actually had them. All three of them running too much, so I've backed off, and my cycle's a little bit different now, and they're doing better.
Good.
This is actually doing pretty well. This is OnTheROAD variegated,
That's what I
and
was
you can actually see the variegation. I got nice red too is coming out in it.
Yeah, and I was noticing that. I'm like, that's the one I've been looking at, is that red one there.
Yeah, so it's doing pretty well. But you know, the rest are pretty common plants. They're not special. And this poor guy, this should be huge, but that one was in my 33 and I chopped him up so bad. There's not much left. I have to wait till he grows back again. I cut off so many fronds off that. And
Well, that's
it was just
awesome.
beautiful.
So any special substrate to get this to work a little better?
I have Echo Complete,
Okay.
and then I ran out, so that's why there's gravel thrown in there, because my substrate wasn't deep enough. I had only bought 2 bags, and I thought it would be plenty. I really should have bought 3 bags for this tank. Just an FYI, I should have bought 60 pounds, and I had 40.
I thought the little rock area there was just a part of your,
Yeah, my
your design.
decor.
Yeah, decor
Yeah,
on there.
yeah,
I
sure.
think it looks nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, that's like a handful of gravel thrown in there because I didn't have enough substrate. I stole some from that tank because that had Echo Complete, but it just didn't have enough to pass over.
And all the floaties.
Yeah, so.
Nice. And what do we have in here?
Oh, goodness, I can't. Oh, the fish are
Fish,
Congo
yeah.
tetras.
Yep.
And then there's a little
I see how-
pseudomugli, something like that. I got him at the GSAS auctions. I won him as a prize. I actually won 3 of them. So I had a male and a female. Well, I lost 1 on transition. And I had a male and a female in the 33. And when I transferred them, the male went over, and I don't know where the female went. I think what happened was when I was cleaning out the floaters, I didn't pass all of them over. I threw some of them out. And I think she went out with some of the floaters because she wasn't in this tank and she wasn't in
She's
that
not
tank.
in here after the transfer.
So that
so-
happens, I lost the female. So he flirts. Look at him. He flirts all the time with the Congo females. I don't know if he thinks he could get one of them to pay attention to him or not, but he struts his stuff around them.
He's definitely doing that, coloring up,
Yeah.
fluttering his
He's
fins.
fluttering around them. Now the Congos, they do their spawning behaviors in the morning. The males do. You'll see them they really poof out and they'll flutter across this. They like the mosses because they're egg scatterers, so they like things that they can scatter in this other plant on the end, the Busolambra or whatever that is. They'll
on
try
the
to
wood there?
scatter across that.
Oh.
And,
And the eggs just scatter within all the all
they're
of the
just
foliage.
tiny, very tiny. I mean, they look like pinheads, and
Really?
I've never had any survive. So,
Well, that's cool. Those are.
but I have 2 males and 5 females. Those came from Aquarium Co-op.
Oh, so the
got
males
those.
are the ones with the fancy fans, and
Yes.
so it's all one big family. So
Right.
okay,
Right, except for the little yellow guy.
except for the little yellow guy. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the males don't get annoyed with him?
Oh no, no, they're pretty laid back, really. Pretty swimmers there, and they have such
Yeah.
beautiful coloring when the light hits them.
Yes.
Really pretty fish.
I really like this tank, the way it's looking.
It'll get there.
Yeah.
It just takes time, and you know, I gotta, like I said, I gotta figure out my fertilizers. I'm a little off. I did a measurement yesterday. I'm a little high on my nitrates, and I'm a little high on my phosphates. So I've got too much in there. But we do a water change Monday, so I figured that was my baby over there.
33 long. Oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, and now it's all just kind of low-tech plants, and you know, real easy ones and easy peasies, and but they all seem to be pretty happy. I pulled them out of other tanks I broke down, and it's a conglomerate of fish that came from other tanks also. It's got my my molly pair in there, mom and dad, the gold dust mollies, and they've been prolific. There's a bunch of babies in there. You'll see them everywhere, all different sizes. They're
See all
starting to
kinds
grow
in there.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I since have thrown in the rasboras, the pork chop rasboras. They're the purple ones, and I've thrown in the feather fins.
And that's the one with the fancy tails.
Right.
Yep.
That's the one that was on the WA fish box.
Oh, the picture
yeah.
you took.
Yeah. Yeah, that's them right there.
Oh, it looks so much bigger on your picture. Okay, I got to zoom in on
They're
that.
tiny. They were hard to get pictures of. And then the teeny tiny little blue ones, those are those Moscow blue dwarf panda guppies. And I have a tank full of males and maybe 1 or 2 females, so I'm not sure how that's going to go.
Oh,
We
yes.
have to pull a bunch of those males out, or they'll kill those females.
Fighting over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see here. What the heck? Threadfin rainbow fish. Threadfin rainbow fish is what those little thin ones are called.
Those are
Threadfin
cool.
rainbows. Yeah. That bronze cryptocoryne over here, the big plant, the bronze colored, reddy bronze one. I got that when that was about 3 inches tall, and it went through the planted tank with the CO2, and it just grew gangbusters, and it's turned into a beautiful plant. I really love it.
So how many different types of plants would you say you have?
Well, probably not as many different types of plants as I have fish.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah.
Okay.
I think I have probably, you know, more different types of fish than I have plants.
Because I just look and see all these plants in there, and I'm like, gosh, that's a lot.
Well, a lot of them are similar. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of anubias, a lot of cryptocorynes, because they grow well in my water. My water's hard, and you know, they like it. They seem to like it.
Now, do you have to do any fancy buffering to make
I
the
don't
fish
buffer
happy?
my water at all.
So
I
you
don't-
just
No, what it is, and if the fish are happy in it, then they'll spawn, and then I'm happy. But
Right.
you know, if they don't spawn, then that's okay too. You know,
Okay.
I like the fish. I pick the fish because I like the fish, and for the most part, I'm pretty sure they'll do okay in my water.
too bad. I mean, I notice you do have a lot of wood in all of them, so that kind of helps to buffer the water. But
I can take
too much.
a pH test, and my water's 8 with
Oh,
the
is
wood
it?
in it. Even with this heavily wooded tank,
it's still
it'll
8,
be
huh?
8.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't drive it down much. And then you'll notice in most of my tanks that have live bearers in it, I have the sponge over the intakes. I
Yep.
just cut a piece of my sponge that I use, the porette foam, and I just cut it to fit. It's not real attractive, but it works. And it keeps the babies from being sucked into the
It works beautifully.
intakes. And I could make sure to clean that every week. And then this also has a canister on it. This one has a 2217.
And then a 75 on the back.
Yeah, I think is that's a 50, isn't it?
50.
Is that a 50 or a 75?
I think it's 75.
Is it a 75?
Yeah, the 50s are
Yeah.
pretty tiny.
And then the planted one has 2 canisters on it.
So, is this the type of LED that Corey is selling, or is it those, or do you have either one of these?
These are the Phoenix.
Those are the
over
Phoenix?
here. Yeah. This is the
Because I've always been
Phoenix.
interested into seeing what those were.
Yeah, this one is on. This one is off. And then this is the Build My LED. And watch out.
Oh my word, that is
That's
insanely
only
bright.
got 15 lights in it. But it is incredible how much light. And that's what's really giving me so much that beautiful red color.
For the
I've got it right in the middle over top of those because it's giving me the best par value to the bottom of the tank. I'm trying to keep it off of this end because it's too much light for these guys. And so that's why I've got the lights kind of shifted.
and the wood kind of helping shadow that
Right.
corner a little bit.
Right.
That is a really, Donna, that's a beautiful planet tank.
Thanks.
It's If you guys were here, I mean, I'm sure it looks great in the video, but it's amazing in person. I mean, what would really be awesome is if you had one of them underwater cameras where you could actually get in there and pretend, and this would literally look like, you know, a lake, that you're down under the water in a lake looking at all these different plants.
Well, and if you want to see the CO2 setup, you just lean that way, and over on the side over here, down there.
Oh, there you go. There's your CO2.
CO2 setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 10, and then I have a dual on it. I had bought it thinking I was going to do a 33 and a 55 combo, but then when I decided to switch it over here, I needed both to run in to get my, and my CO2 is still down a little bit. My color is still a little blue on the reactant. So
that was to test it to make sure that everything is good.
Yeah, so I'm running still a little light on the CO2, but gosh, I got so much bubbles going on in there. I said, well, I think that's probably enough. And we'll see how that goes. I try not to change too much all at once so that I can kind of figure out what it is.
Right.
You know, works and doesn't work.
It's just, I'm in awe. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
This makes my trip worth it.
Well, you know, I thought it was going to be, it has been the most challenge for me. The planted tank is the most challenge. But it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And getting to this point over here, not as hard as I thought it was going to be either.
That's what the girls said yesterday.
Yeah.
Megan and Jessica.
It takes time, is what it takes. You know, you go to the store and you buy a plant and it's 3 inches tall. And it takes it months to reach, you know, as tall as these plants are getting or as tall as those are getting. It just takes time.
It's nothing different than a fish.
Right. That's right.
I enjoy those rare, slow-growing fish that are very meticulous and particular about stuff.
This is another kind of newer tank. This used to be my zebra, you know, my Lion's Cove tank.
Okay.
And I placed all those fish out because I wanted to do some Tanganyikans, and I've never done any. And when I first went looking for cichlids, the first fish I asked for was a featherfin, and the guy looked at me and laughed. And,
because he didn't know what they were, because
no,
they can't be got.
He knew what they were,
but
they're just not the most usual fish that people start with because they're difficult. And so I finally got them, and these are Cyphophorix. I never say anything right. Foy. These are foy, and there's also Cyphophorix fusifer. But the difference is the fusifer are more shallow watered, and the foy are more deeper watered fish. And so your deeper watered fish get a darker coloration when they mature into their colors, and the fusifers will be brighter, lighter colored. I printed some pictures to show you. I'll show that to you later just so you can see them.
Now, these are an African cichlid as well?
These are like Tanganyika.
Oh, and they look like a nice schooling cichlid.
And they build, the males, their spawning behavior is they build huge bowers in the sand, big pits, and then they'll pick a female out. And you have to watch because they get really aggressive and they shoot back and forth super fast in the tank, and because their eyes are so large, they're prone to eye injury.
Smacking into stuff?
Yeah, they also have extremely large long intestines.
And, how can you tell males and females in here?
You know, at this point I can't. They're too young for me, and I'm not a venter. I've never vented fish, so I always look for appearance. So I'll wait for it to show and I'll know.
And then you'll know.
Thinking that the males are probably the larger ones. There's a couple in there, 1, 2, 3, that are bigger, and I'm thinking that those are probably the males and the smaller are the females. And but when they mature, the females will have more of the speckled look to them, you know, and the males will have more of the silver coloration until they color up for spawning, and then they'll get those beautiful colors on them.
How big do they get? Well,
9 inches.
Oh, so there's some big boys and girls.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they get big. I guess I didn't realize that when I first got them. So, but they say that you really have to. I'm probably going to have to add another filter to this tank. I'm running 2 canisters on it, and the HOB. But they are sand sifters also, so they sift for the diatom. They like the brown diatom. And so they're constantly cleaning the bottom, so they're also pooping a lot.
Right.
And so you need a lot of filtration on there to keep up with that. See, just swimming around, you just see it. I mean, they just poop all the time.
I'm watching that, but I'm also noticing that your lights are changing colors as we sit here.
They are.
And is that normal?
This is on a cloudy day for them. So I try to keep it where it goes a little bit dimmer because I figure living in deeper water, it would be more like that.
Correct.
I'm trying to emulate a little bit, to the best of my ability, their darker water. So not real exciting because they're juvies at this point, you know, but in about a year, I expect I should, and I'll have to thin this herd too. I won't be able to keep all of them. I'll have to have a dominant male and 4 or 5 females, but I'm hoping I'll get that out of them. With my luck, I'll end up either with all females or all males. I had those chogas.
Like
I had 1 male out of 10 fish, had 1 male and 9 females. It was like, how does that happen?
That is crazy. And this light that's changing colors and stuff, what brand is that?
That's a current LED Plus also. Yeah, it's running the cloudy day. And this is our local basalt. It comes right off the ditch banks. So
the sand?
The basalt rock. The
black
rock. Yeah,
that's
it's
right
not
off your
real
river.
pretty, but it's cheap. You know, you just go out and pick it up.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with the river rock.
So
I actually like the color.
Fish in a bowl. That's his Java fern that he sent to me. Now that came out of a CO2 tank. So it's kind of, I've lost some leaves off of it and stuff because this is not CO2. There's no CO2 in here. And but we'll see. It should come back. I mean, hopefully. This is not a super bright light. This is a regular, just a current. These are a live bearer. These are Scyphia multiplicata. And they are, I got these from Greg Sage, Select Aquatics. He was a speaker at the GAS thing, and I eventually contacted him and ordered these just recently, so I haven't had them super long. There's 1 baby in there. And it looks like I have 2, maybe 3 males, and then the rest are females. And so far they seem pretty good, pretty quiet with one another. And most of the females look like they're gathered to me, so they look like I think I'm going to have some babies from them.
I say that one there does.
I liked here's a baby up front.
Oh,
I liked the color on them, the yellow and the black. I thought was so pretty on these males. They're just really kind of different, and I really like that. Small, you know, small.
Perfect
fish.
for a 20 long tank.
Yeah, and pretty happy. This is a species only. They recommended that you do that with them, so I am.
And they stay small like this?
Yeah, they don't get real big.
Good. And is this a species tank as well?
That's a
Almost?
Trarchodon lateralis, and almost a species. It was a species forever. And then when I got these Scyphias, I had ordered from 2 different sources, and I had just a pair come in from the other source, and I didn't want them to mix. So I put the Scyphia pair in here. That's the female and that's the male.
Okay.
And they're kind of plain compared to the other ones. So I'm not sure if I'll keep them. I like the other ones much better. I really like these, this group. It's one of my favorite groups. This is the big female here. See how big she is?
Yes.
And then that's the male with the red and the black.
This right here.
Yes,
Okay, they look
and they
completely
are,
different.
They're a critically endangered species from Mexico. And what's happened is they're springs, they come from mostly springs and spring-fed pools, have been polluted and by humans. And it's just about wiped them out. They have a whole project now that they're working on called the Godiad Project, because these particular types of fish have become almost extinct in the wild.
That's too bad.
They're beautiful. They're so pretty.
Yes.
And even the young ones will show a lot of color. The males will. You'll see the red and the
I
green
can see.
in them.
Yep.
See it? It's so pretty. Really pretty.
And that's the definite distinction between males and females.
Well, the definite distinction is the split fin. Under the males, you'll see that their anal fin is split.
Yes.
And they have a name for that. I can never remember again. But and it's part of how they reproduce. and the females don't have that split in there.
So is the females, are the females typically bigger than the male?
Yes.
Okay.
They're very peaceful. I mean, there's a little aggression now that there's so many in the tank between one another. I think it's a, you know, a sexual maturity chasing aggression.
Are these all their babies?
Yeah.
So that's just the main pair was the two large
The
ones?
one pair. That's all
All
I
right.
had. Another Betty bristlenose. I actually had one bristlenose before I got Betty's. So all the rest of them I have are Betty's. I'll make it through.
So I noticed over here in this, what you just said,
Yes.
that you have a male and a female tucked up in there, and they haven't really come out.
They could be spawning up there.
Is that,
Yeah. Oh, I see them there. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, they could. Yeah, they could actually be. Their spawning is a little different than normal fish. They actually, it's almost like he impregnates her, and then the females carry the babies with an umbilical cord, and when they birth them, there's a type of umbilical that comes out with the baby, and it falls off. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly, but that's the way I've heard it explained.
right, no.
And it's very unusual, and they have to be, the females have to be impregnated every time, unlike some other fish.
Right.
You know, that don't require that fertilization or contact each time. That must happen with them before they can have babies. So their spawns are typically pretty small. She's had as many as 6, I think, in one spawn, 7, but usually it's around 3 or 4. Kind of an interesting fish, and the fact that they're a care species, you know,
Yeah.
and cares is, you know, it's kind of one of those things. It's, you know, if you can set a tank aside and raise up some fish and share them around, you know, because these aren't going to be out there in the wild forever. So it's
Yeah.
what we have in our tanks, and
We'll do our job to hopefully keep them, keep the even if it's
species going.
Yeah, even if it's just in a home tank, it's better than not having them at all.
I'm waiting for the fall. Some of these will be going to the auction.
I gotta make it to one of the GSAS auctions. I have every time it comes up, I'm like, oh gosh, I got so much to do.
They're really good, and GSA is the speakers are so informative and interesting. Have a lot of fun with them. And when the babies are born in here, these are all just survivors. They go up into the top. They'll stay up in the floaters, and I'll see them. You know, when I'm feeding or something, I'll see them, and then I do a little spot feeding. I'll use for spites for, you know, about a week or so, wherever they're at, and then make sure I'm getting some good crumbled flake up there or something, and baby brine shrimp.
That's awesome.
They seem to do fine.
I see you have a lot of babies in here, so they've done
It
very
takes
well.
them a long time to grow. You know, some of these have been in here for quite a while. It just takes some time to grow. They're slow growers. They're not fast.
Well, this is another beautiful, awesome tank there, Donna.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Just a couple of them, and then there's one youngster that's swimming around that was a survivor.
So you have some
in here.
platies and some Danios.
Yeah, those are gold ring Danios. Oh, and I have this loach down here too. I got 2 of those. Kind of a different type of little loach down there. And yeah.
And what type is he? You knew I was going to ask.
Yeah, something lizard loach. I believe he's in that family. There's a couple of them that kind of look alike, and they're hard to identify. But he's in that family of the lizard loaches. They're like hillstream loaches. They like a current, so that's why I have the pump on this end,
Power head.
and my canister filters down that way so that they kind of get flow, and they seem to be doing okay in there. They're not growing super big, but loaches grow slow anyway.
Right.
But they're surviving, and they seem happy. They come out when I feed.
There's your 3 little babies.
There's a couple babies back there, and there's a juvie in there somewhere. And but those gold ring Danios, they're beautiful. They're a really pretty fish.
And what's the difference between them and like the leopard Danios?
Just
color?
just the marking, yeah, the different markings on them. So, but I think they're so pretty. I really like them. They hide more than not hide, but they swim more in the back now than they used to. They used to always swim out front, but they found a spot back there that they like. They go back and forth back there a lot.
So.
And then some of these platies, a couple of these platies are actually from Morgan, who you visited last night. The bigger ones there, the bigger orange and black. And then I had the two kind of gold dust platies. And then I went and purchased the a couple of Mickey Mouse, and I've got a long fin in there. And so I just kind of have an assortment in there, and we'll have a bunch of hybrid babies, and we'll see what comes out.
Right. So I have to ask the difference in substrate color.
I had some of that left. That's a planted substrate. There's the other little baby down there, the juvie.
Oh, yep.
In the corner. And I just thought I'll give that a try and see if the stem plants will do better in that than in sand. And they've done okay. They actually, I had that other Finex on this tank, and they were doing really well with that. But once I moved the Finex and put the two T8s on it, everything's kind of slowed down. The cryptocoreans and Anubias, they'll do fine with the T8, but and this probably is one of like my second favorite tank. I love the orange. It just pops in the tank with the green and the there's the two loaches fussing at one another. So they fight all the time. They're not pleasant to one another. One of them's definitely a little bit bigger. And,
actually, I was watching earlier. The big one was down here in the front. And the little one came around from behind and got it.
And messed at it.
Yeah, that's one thing I enjoyed about Morgan and Jessica's tanks last night were a lot of the reds that were within the plants, the reds and oranges and yellows. So it just stands out. It just it was cool. And like I mentioned to them, there's a gentleman that I've gotten to know on Facebook who had a huge tank with Midas. And he had platies and neons and stuff all within there, and the live plants. In his video, it's just everything is just living so harmoniously. And I'm like, how did you do that? That is just awesome. And I would do that in a heartbeat if I could figure out that it would work. It's just, he says he's had them that way since the Midas were small.
Every once in a while, I'll hook up the air tube to the thing and do the air jet stream out of there.
Throw some air.
And the loaches love it. They'll come out and they'll surf on the plant leaves. They'll get on them and they'll just hang on while the
These are
air flows that way. Also a live bear. Live bears. And these are Chirarchodon again, like the lateralists up there. But this is audax. So you'll see the fella swimming around. This is a female here. There's one male in here. He's got black fins. And
so this is the same as the one in the living room in the corner, but different.
Right.
Okay.
And then I also have these, they call them mountain swords, Xistophorus, what is the, Malinchen or something like that. Anyway, yeah, and these are young. So they're not, I have no swords on any of them yet. And they won't get real big, but they're very pretty and not common. And if you get close and can really see them, they have beautiful vertical barring on them and some yellow in them. They're real, just lovely. They're going to be beautiful when they grow up. They're still just babies.
Nice.
This tank's kind of hodgepodge. It's the one at the end of the hall, so it kind of gets all the dregs, Oh, this is left over. I'll go stick it in the tank at the end of the hall.
The furthest away.
Yeah. Where did the male's over hiding in the? There he is.
He's over in the.
That's the audax male, and he's pretty. He's like the lateralis up there, who's red, but he's got the black finage. And then I have two females for him, so I've got the one male and two females. And I had 7 of the swords, and this is the tank that they jumped out of. I lost 2 out of the back.
Oh.
And so I only have 5 of them, but they seem pretty happy back here.
Exactly. I mean, again, it's one of those species tanks, and no, it's a different look, and I like it. It's like I mentioned, something I want to do.
Right.
It's on my list, and I've said that in so many videos.
Well, and I forgot to tell you, all of these are cold water too. This one's cold water. There's no heater on this. There's no heater on the platy one, although there's a heater hanging in it. It's not turned on. There's no heater on the lateralis at all. There's no heater on the Skiffia up there. Those are all cold water.
And at what temperature is ideal for these?
These actually like it a little cooler, even like 68.
Okay.
But I'm running it at about 70, so that's an okay
Right.
in the range. But they like it cool.
Right.
And then most of my my tanks without heat are running about 70, 69 to 70. And so we have to, our water coming out of the tap now is coming out at 82 degrees out of the tap. And so we have to run our water the night before and let it come down to temp to put it into the tanks, these cool water tanks. I didn't think we'd have an issue with that. I thought, oh, this is going to be real easy because we're not running heaters. We'll just run it out of the tap. It never occurred to me that the summer tap water was that hot. I never realized that.
No, that's insane. I never would have guessed it. Yeah.
It's even hot for our warm tanks.
Yeah.
So we actually add in some of this cool water that we do a couple of 33-gallon trash cans, and we do some buckets, and we have them all ready. This is my quasi-native tank.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the sunfish, and I have red.
Dude, you need one of these.
Oh, the what do they call them? Red sliders, red ciders, red something. Yeah, but there's no red on them. I don't have any red on them yet.
Yeah.
I think they get their red later. And
That's
anyway.
a cold water tank as well, or?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, heater hanging in there, but there's no
Yes, no.
heat. So on it, yeah. So.
I know the sunfish is a cold water tank. That's what I was kind of thinking. Oh.
And that's why we're running the AC out here, because it got so warm.
Keep it cool.
Those 100-degree temps. Yeah, our water temp was going up, and so I said, we got to keep it a little cooler for them. Lettuce kept, and it was nice to be able to start the pond up and throw the floaters back in. So we're going to do a stock tank this year
Well, there you
instead of
go.
the 55. And I think that'll work better.
Well, speaking of that pond,